The Boss in the Sauce Show.
Boss in the Sauce Show.
Boss in the Sauce Show.
Boss in the Sauce Show. Here we go.
But let's move on, man. We're gonna keep the show flowing and going, and roll right on into the South Carolina Gamecocks. Shane Beamer, second year here at the school. He's 7-6 last year. Offensive coordinator Marcus Satterfield, defensive coordinator Clayton White. Now, he did win 3 of his last 5 games last year, which included the bowl victory. He looks like he could have a high ceiling right here at South Carolina. So he's a guy to watch right here. Now, I'm not too keen on second-year coaches, more on third-year coaches. But this could be one of those guys from the way that he gets those guys to play defense.
Yeah, no doubt. This team, yeah, they turned around, and he's a second-year coach, like you said. Him and Josh Heupel, you're in the same boat. You know, I think Josh, did what he had to do, and this is another team that kind of, I would say, maybe might have overachieved just a little bit because of the fact that him being a first-year coach. They had some nice games that they played. They played. Let's see, who was their big win last year? The big win was they beat North Carolina in the bowl, right? They beat Auburn late in the season.
Right, yeah.
And they beat Florida. So those 3 big wins late in the season, kind of gave them a little bit of inspiration. And they got blanked by Clemson 30-0. So that was a reality check there after beating Auburn. That was a big, not a letdown spot, but just kind of, they were probably riding high off of that game, and it just kind of carried over into that game. But yeah, the thing with Carolina or South Carolina is, the biggest news is they went and got Spencer Rattler from Oklahoma.
Bingo.
Now, here's a kid that had national championship aspirations. Was the next Heisman Trophy candidate because Oklahoma did nothing but churn out a Heisman Trophy candidates and winners and whatnot. And then Rattler was 15-2 as a starter in Oklahoma, and he had a couple marginal games. And next thing you know, he's on the bench. I remember you were kind of upset about that when we talked about that last year. They shouldn't have gave the kid. Here he is, the senior, but he opted to come back and play another year, and he had the eligibility, so he took it. So that was that was probably the biggest score I think in all of college football was South Carolina getting this kid. Rather love him or hate him, the kid still, like I say, he's 15-2 as a winner. So the weakest point of South Carolina was definitely their offense. They haven't had a quarterback in forever in that school, but they always had a solid defense. Even with the old ball coach when he was there, Spurrier, they never got that big name quarterback. And, Muschamp, so he didn't do nothing with the offense. So we'll see, and Beamer can get something out of this kid and spark the offense. And what Beamer does, is the Beamer lineage. They're good at special teams. South Carolina will have good special teams. They'll be well coached. And they're probably, I want to say they'll probably be a middle pack team this year, maybe 7 wins, 6-7, come out the same way. But just be on the lookout for this team to make something, in an underdog role. Like I say, look for this team to play on underdog spots. They'll probably win like half their games, and and they better not let their guard down against this team because they'll be ready to play.
Yeah, I'm leaning at South Carolina to be maybe an under team, and let me tell you why. They are getting it together on the offensive line. They returned 5 starters from 2021. 3 of them are seniors. I'm expecting them to do a lot better running the ball and controlling the game. And last year, they did control games. Although they only scored 22 points on offense, they did hold teams to 24 points on defense, which is a little bit upside down, but the 24 mark is not that bad. They allowed 175 on the ground, but they only allowed 180 in the air. So they can tighten up in some spots on defense. And definitely the offense is going to need some improvement. They have the quarterback. They have the offensive line now, but they were lacking that running back, but they did call in for transfers from Wake Forest, Georgia, and Columbia. And at the wide receiver position, he hits the portal hard again, too, with players from Oklahoma, James Madison, Arkansas State, Eastern Tennessee. So he's digging in the crack and craters to find talent to fill in on offense. But overall, I don't think he put as much attention on the defense as he did the offense. the strength of the defense will be back with the defensive backs. They getting they lost 2, but they returned 3. So they do have some of their best guys at that spot. But I think he could have paid a little more attention to the defensive line and the linebacker staff right there. And like you said, because of that, I think this year just comes down to part of the process. And we get, like you said, like a mid-level season out of this guy. Just like last year, he was able to peak and beat Auburn. He may be able to make a couple peaks like that. But I think overall, he's not really going too far with this team.
Yeah, I'm not going to say because the talent level won't let him get there. I just think it's more of an implementation of his process and a lot of new pieces, coming in because he's got kind of almost like a mini revolving door happening right now, with the portal. And he does have some, like you said, returning starters and some upperclassmen coming back. I think in the skill position on the offense, whether the recruiting level or the talent level steps up, definitely got the upperclassmen there to kind of fill in the peaks and valleys for what he has now. So he's going to have a bunch of seniors on the team and some juniors to boot. So I think he's well off there. Whether the talent competes, we'll see what Rattler does. Maybe Rattler puts a fire under these kids and lets them buy in and they make some stuff happen. It's going to be an interesting season. It's going to be a fun team to watch. I think South Carolina with Rattler coming in.
Yeah, I think they may have some problems with balancing on that side, and we could get some unders out of that spot right there. Being that maybe early in the season, it takes a while for the offense to gel. The defense just needs a little bit of fine tuning in some areas, and always having a good passing defense helps you on that under. So I'm looking to see what the numbers look like, especially in like mid 50s or early 50s or higher. I'm leaning towards under. I think these guys keep guys under the 24 points a game, and I think they just do a little bit better than 24 points a game. So right around that same thing. So I'm leaning under on those guys for the season. We're going to keep the show